guys. Welcome to another episode of King Jing Things. I am King Jing. We have brought back Mike for another episode, and today we are doing another draft. This time we've got a couple more people joining us. It's going to go on a little bit longer, but I think it's going to make things a bit more interesting. We are drafting our favorite bands that have played at Warped Tour. So whether it's pop punk, metalcore, ska, emo, whatever you were moshing to back in like those dusty parking lot days, anything's up for grabs. I'd like to go ahead and introduce two new guests to the show. We do have Preston Drake.
Hey, y'all.
We've got Danny Crowe.
What's going on?
Do y'all want to go ahead and like give your background on, maybe what these bands meant to you back in high school, because we're all about the same age, so I feel like we all were sort of brought up in the same music scene, if you want to call it that. But yeah, go ahead and give your background.
Preston, you want to go first, man?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, so I am a pop punk, emo, easycore, hardcore enthusiast. And I've been to Warped Tour. I think I've been 4 or 5 times, 4 or 5. The last one I went to was in 2016, so it's been a long time, and unfortunately can't make it work to go for one of the 3 locations this year. Maybe they'll bring it back in some sort of larger way in the future, and I will be there. But yeah, I just love the genre, and I'm really psyched to be on here with you guys. So thanks for having me.
What about you, Dan?
Yeah. So I am I'm an actor and a vocalist. So I've been kind of in and around and studying music for kind of as long as I can remember. And before I even did any like acting or theater or anything like that, I got my start doing like garage bands. And so these guys were some of the first groups of artists that I like listened to and was like, oh, I want to model myself after these guys. I had like started with like being very little, listening to my parents' music of like loving like Queen and AC/DC and that sort of thing. But then getting to discover bands that were from my generation was incredibly exciting. And so um, I listen to just about as much music as I can. And I always nerd out over especially what the vocalists are doing, which is kind of what I think is going to really be the deciding factor on some of my picks. I'm very vocals biased. Um, but yeah, no, like these guys, um, the just catalog of different artists that performed at this festival is remarkable.
It's impressive.
And you had to like bottle what my high school years sounded like. It would be a lot of these guys.
I think that resonates with all 4 of us here for sure.
Mm.
They obviously have like a long, variety of different genres that you can sort of choose from here. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what route we all take. I'm sure we have a couple overlapping bands here, but in terms of like a first overall pick, I don't think it's very chalk. I don't think there is one band that is one. I think it can go a few different ways. So the way that this is going to work, since there are 4 of us here, we're going to go in a snake draft. So the first overall pick is going to go to Danny. It'll then go to Preston, then to me, and then it'll go to Mike. And at the beginning of the second round, it's going to start with Mike, and it's going to make its way back down to Danny that way. So, yeah, if y'all want to just go ahead and get right into it, Danny, you've got the first overall pick. Go ahead and get started, my man.
All right. So I really thought about this a bit about even like of those bands, who would probably be one of my most favorites. Um, I thought about it a lot. And you can look at some of the other bands on this list and talk about their influence. You can talk about who they inspired. But I think if you were picking the quintessential, like Warped Tour sound of like pop punk, something that has a catalog that has a little bit of something for everyone on like the scale of like heaviness that you like to listen to. My first pick is absolutely A Day to Remember. Um, for a number of reasons. First being, Jeremy McKinnon is an insane vocalist. I will listen to singers and really look at what they're doing live. A lot of Warped Tour vocalists really suffer on the live front. Jeremy is one of those singers that I have watched do clean vocals and also screaming, and have watched him through the years improve on his live work. Normally, it is the opposite. Singers go on the road for years at a time with bad form, and they lose their ability to hit the notes that they've been able to hit. Um, Jeremy is one of those people where I watch and go, that person works with a voice coach. Um, he is just clearly doing a lot of really, really cool technique work. Um, Another thing that like people kind of talk around is on like the internet when they talk about music is like, pick a crazy 3 album run. It's like, find an artist that has a great 3 album run. A Day to Remember has a 4 album run of For Those Who Have Hearts, into Homesick, into What Separates Me From You, into Common Courtesy. I, on a road trip sometimes, will listen through all 4 albums. I think maybe I'll skip 2 songs. Maybe. And I do this so often that I know that this is not just like that nostalgia baiting for an artist, where I've like, as an adult, gone back, listened to these guys again, listened to the wide variety of thematic themes that they write about, and seen the variety of styles that they've written about. And again, I like the other night after I knew that I had the first pick, went and watched a clip of them at Lollapalooza from 2022. They all sound amazing. They're only getting better. So that is confidently my first pick.
Great first pick. That would have been mine if I had the first overall. I believe they've been around since 2003. So there's not many bands that you see that last over 2 decades with no breaks. And for the most part, they have the same exact lineup that they did when we were listening to them. I think there's been like 2 or 3 departures. But yeah, Homesick is top 3 album of mine all time. There are no skips on there. No qualms from me with that pick.
I couldn't agree more. That would have been my number one pick. Well, maybe not, but since I had 2, they were definitely up there. I always think about, I've never seen this movie, The Good Son, but I've always watched the video of when he throws Mr. Highway over onto the highway, and I always giggle and think about it when that song comes on. And that's where Disrespect Your Surroundings just
Yeah.
changed everybody's life. Let's be honest. Like, everybody knows that part. Everybody sings that part. Everybody loves that part. And they're from Ocala, so I've seen them more than most bands I've seen. So because they're always in Florida, and since that's where I'm from, you just couldn't ask for a better band. They're the best.
They're crazy live. And also like with the fun song titles. One of the only bands that I know of that one of their song titles also quotes my favorite actor, Robin Williams, which is "I'm made of wax, Larry. What are you made of?" which is from Night at the Museum. The bonus points.
What a great movie.
Yeah.
What a great film. I love those movies. So
Good first pick, Danny. All right,
Solid
Preston.
first pick for sure. And you sort of mentioned like they have an array of how they sound. If you want something really heavy, they'll give you that. If you want something
versatile.
just acoustic, they'll give you that. If you want something in the middle, they'll give you that. They are one of those bands that you put on for any group of friends and they will almost universally like accept it.
A group that writes something like "If It Means a Lot to You" and also like "Second Sucks" is like a poster child for stylistic variety. It's insane.
yeah.
And it's why they get to tour with so many people. Jeremy just had an interview recently where he was talking about like, yeah, we always write for us, but we write in a really diverse, stylistically inclusive way. So we get to tour with people like fucking Whitechapel, and they also get to tour with like Blink 182, Mayday Parade, Sum 41, like that sort of thing. Yeah, they're great.
Right, piece Sum 41.
I'm glad that you brought up those bands because I know Preston's got this second pick, and I think I know where this is headed.
Yeah, I mean, to be completely candid, the band that I would pick, I really want Mike to have. So, and he knows this because Mike introduced me to the band that I think I know he's gonna pick. Mike's the reason why I love them so much. So, Mike, obviously they're yours. Thank you for introducing them to me.
Appreciate you.
And so the band I'm gonna go with, and this is a band that has been with me for a long time. And the first time I ever heard them was at Warped Tour with Charlotte in 2015. And the reason why I still love this genre, I would say, Neck Deep. Neck
Oh,
Deep is my number one. So, and they were my number two, and the band that Mike's gonna pick is my number one. But Neck Deep's probably a 1B for me. I love this band. The first song that I ever heard by them is a song called Losing Teeth. It's off of an album called Wishful Thinking, came out in 2014, I think, or 2013 or 2014. But the song is just nothing but it's just hook after hook after hook. It's just earworms. And I heard it live and I was like, this is unbelievable. And then they came out with what I consider to be the best pop punk album of the 2010s, which is Life's Not Out to Get You. I think it came out later that year. And I was just like hooked. So I love that band. I've only seen them twice because they're from the UK. And I just seem to always miss them. I saw them last January with my brother and my girlfriend at the time, and it was a lot of fun. So I love Neck Deep. I got a ton of love for them. Like I love Ben Barlow, great on the vocals. He's had to change his vocals a little bit over time. He's gone more from like being a lower sound. He sings high pitch now because I think it's easier for his voice. But they just released a self-titled album last January, and I haven't stopped playing it since then. So love that band. Huge shout out to Neck Deep. So
I believe the vocalist has also come out and said that "A Day to Remember" is a big influence
not
on.
surprised by that at all. Yeah.
Uh, Definitely a great pick. I had them on my list. I thought they were going to make it around to me with the later picks. I was certain you were going one route, so I am thrown for
Yeah.
at the moment. But good pick. I love you some Neck Deep.
Thanks.
Yeah, I do know that Preston would have picked my one. We'll get there, obviously, so I won't talk about it much. But I knew Neck Deep would easily be a 1B for him. I think the thing about Neck Deep is like, we all know the song "A Part of Me." I love screaming that in the car. I don't know that there is a better song to scream in a car by yourself just for fun, like than that song.
That song,
Arguably,
it is 2010s emo. It's
yeah,
like
it's like you just
at
as
its
loud as you can, you are singing that song, top of your lungs. People in the cars next to you are looking at you funny, and you're having the best time doing it. So, great pick.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, I got the third pick here, and this is who I thought you were going to go with, Preston. I would say, they've been around for a while. They recently sort of got back together. They are probably the most influential pop punk band out there, and it's Blink 182.
Yep, there's Blink.
Like they're one of these only Warped Tour bands that sort of broke out of the genre, and they just became so much bigger than the genre itself.
And the
I
scene,
think
yeah.
Travis Barker is probably the best drummer of all time, in my opinion. He is so
Parker
talented.
is my favorite part of that outfit. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's Blink 182. They've been around for so long. I was just at a wedding last night, and all the small things came on. They're one of those genres that will show up, or they're one of the bands that will show up on a wedding playlist. So I will happily
Yeah.
take Blink 182.
Yeah, what a band.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only reason that Blink wasn't higher up on my list has just been my dislike of their most recent two albums. But like, if we're going for like what they put out during like the Warped Tour heyday, yeah, perfect pick.
I mean, they had like a 3-album run that is just unmatched because you had Enema, Take Off, and then Untitled. I mean, it's just unbelievable the quality of music that they put out over like a 7-year period. It's unreal. So actually, probably less than 7 years. I think that was probably like 4 years that those all came out. So yeah,
Enema came out in '99, and then the self-titled came out in 2003. So I mean,
Yeah.
like, I know Dude Ranch, like that probably is what put them on.
the song Josie. Yeah, it's a great album. Yeah,
Oh, how much do you love that song, Preston?
I mean, I named my dog after it. So.
So yeah,
If you need like any evidence of like their impact on the cultural zeitgeist too, maybe one of the more iconic band logos that exist too. Like maybe them and Nirvana have a couple of the most
You're talking about like the
iconic.
smiley face?
The smiley face with the arrows.
Dude, yeah, it's so iconic. Yeah,
Mm.
it is.
if you think pop punk, I feel like that is the image that you sort of see.
Mhm.
Like I'm a sucker for the names of albums, names of albums or names of songs. Enema of the State, Dude Ranch,
Take off your pants and jacket.
Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Like this is remarkable. And I just listened to an interview with I think it was Mark Hoppus. They didn't even know that Dude Ranch was a you know it could be I don't know.
Sure.
You know what I'm trying to say.
I forgot this was a family-friendly show.
Wait, I mean, okay. Have you guys been to one of their concerts?
No.
I have not.
So in between songs, they are just they just tell the dirtiest jokes, like, and they still do it, and they have so much fun. Like it's a part of their act. So they just will just get up and tell dick and fart jokes for like 2 minutes, and then they'll right. So it's really funny. But what I love about them is their album is called Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, but like there's some really serious songs on that album. Like there's a song about like being a child of a divorce on that album. So and it's
What
like
song is that on that album?
it's called Stay Together for the Kids. Yeah.
Yeah. But
It's like
there's-
super heavy. But the album is called Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. And actually, when they came out with the CD release of that album, they had these hidden tracks at the end of all 3 of these different versions. And one of them was a B-side that it didn't make the cut. And then the second song was like a joke song. And the titles of the joke songs are like awful. They're like, can I curse on here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so one of them is called When You Fucked Grandpa. The other one is called Mother's Day, and it's not very clean. And then the other one is called, I believe it's called Fuck a Dog or something like that. But it's
I
like,
can
it's
fuck
like
a dog in the ass.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's like
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
We just got demonetized. Although we weren't monetized in the first place.
Exactly.
No, that's a great pick, Jimmy.
Yeah, great pick.
Yeah.
Mike, you want to go ahead and round off the 4th round? I think your background might give away what pick you're taking here.
Yeah, I would say so. It's pretty obvious what I'm going to pick as I'm picking the story so far. This is a completely biased pick, has nothing to do with what they've done for Warped Tour. If they've done anything for Warped Tour, they are my favorite band of all time. We're talking about album runs. They've never made a bad album. They don't have a single skip song for me. They're probably the only band I will truly sit down and tell you that I love. I've seen them 7 times now, and I don't even feel like that's enough as a fan of this band. They're the greatest thing that's happened to me in music. Nobody's ever made me feel more emotional when it comes to listening. And the last album, I Want to Disappear, with Parker talking about really his father and what he's gone through, really relates to me with losing my father a little bit earlier in life and some of the issues that we had. So it's like, it started so punky, everybody knows Quicksand and is so excited about Quicksand. And like, that's not even a top 10 song for me. Like, I think they have a discography that just can't be beat. If I Fall is my favorite song by far. And it's so intense and so hard. And like, I just can't put into words what this band has done for me on a day-to-day basis, and they were an easy number 1 for me, and I thank you, Preston, for not taking them from me.
Dude, you introduced me to them, so dude, what a band. No, like everything you just said, yeah, they're incredible. Like, what a band. So
I did not expect to like have a band I was less than familiar with so early, and your pitch to them makes me want to go, all right, I got to go check these guys out.
you
I
guys spend
absolutely
it,
do.
dude. You
Yeah.
I
should.
would, yes, start
Parker
with
Cannon.
Undersoil and Dirt and just run through every
They
album from
rip,
front to back.
dude. They're so good.
I'm like taking my notes here of like to listen to.
What a band.
I'll send you some stuff after this, Danny.
Yeah,
Parker
yeah.
Cannon is one of those, like, he's got such a unique voice. It's so solid.
And shout out, if you guys have never heard of this band, go check out No Pressure. It's Parker's side band. They fucking rip. They are unreal. Like just pure, uncut, like 2000s pop punk is like all they are. Like they're so freaking good. So go check out. I mean, I don't think they're as good as Story, but they are like the little niche of Story, which is just like 2.5 minute, pop punk songs. That's like all he does with them. So I think actually one more thing, and then I'll shut up, Mike. I listened to an interview the other day with Will of Story, and he said that they just got done recording 3 new songs in the studio, and that they're gonna have new music coming out this year, which is insane.
That
Didn't
could
they
put
just
tears
come
in
out
my
with
eyes.
an album?
We just got
Yes.
blessed with I Want to Disappear like less than a year ago, and they're already
Yes.
recording music again.
And they don't just release music like quickly ever. I think they've like 2011, 2013, 2015, 2018, 2024. Like
Right, they
this
take their
isn't
time.
yeah, and it really, I mean, Parker said it a million times. He just picks based on like when he's feeling something. Like he's not just he doesn't just write music to write music. Like that's kind of what No Pressure is in a way. Like he's kind of more punky, throwing stuff, not throwing stuff together because it's very quality music, but it's a different aspect of him that
It is kind of
really
thrown together. If you ever hear like an interview with him, he's
Yeah.
saying like he got sent the songs and he like wrote the shit. But I think he was going through some really messed up stuff at the time, so it was easy for him to like write the lyrics. Like I think if I heard the interview correctly, he was dating a girl that wanted to become an OnlyFans model, and she wanted to like F other dudes on her OnlyFans, and he told her no. And then they broke up, but then he was still like living with her, I think. And then when she moved out is when he made No Pressure. So
God,
that's
this
the
is
story
so
behind-
pop punk, dude. This
Yeah.
is so pop punk.
Yeah.
Before you get your second pick,
Yep.
or I guess to start off the second round, Parker Cannon also has one of the most unique stances or body builds. He's very no neck and
Oh,
And
sure.
he always has that haircut. He has the haircut too.
right.
Kind of like a little bowl like.
No,
I
he's
don't
the
know.
Liam Gallagher haircut. He's into like wokecore and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Last thing I'll say, and then I'll get into my first pick in the second round, or my pick in the second round. Fans are so funny with the story so far because they think of an Undersoil and Dirt and it was super punky. Then it got harder in the next album, and every album they make, fans shit on it for the first week, and then after the first week, they're like, "Holy crap, I'm an idiot! I was expecting exactly what they made before, and all 5 of their albums are different." And I just find that to be so intriguing because I've never been that. I'm like, "Oh, this is awesome," but they can do just about anything when they make music, and I love that. My second pick, I think, is actually going to come as a surprise. And you guys are going to completely trash me for this, but I'm basically taking 3 more bands with this pick because suck it. I'm taking Attack Attack because a couple reasons. One, they were the first band I ever saw at Warped Tour and had no idea who they were, and I had the most fun in my life with my friends. And this was before, like, growing up, I never listened to any of this music because I didn't have a way to listen to it. So my first Warped Tour was when I really got into, like, pop punk and listening to it. I was, like, young. I was, like, early high school. I think, like, 9th grade. And I just remember seeing them and being like, why is this so cool? Second of all, I'm taking 3 more bands with this, basically. I'm taking Bill Murray, I'm taking Of Mice and Men, and I'm taking Beartooth. It's what I'm basically doing because I have the 3 vocalists from each band. You guys are more than welcome to take the individual band, but I get all 3 because
Smart.
without Attack, this just doesn't happen. So for me, easy pick, fan favorite, and I think a lot of people that have been to Warped Tour would agree this is
great
a
pick.
fair top pick.
think
That's
the-
my
Fantastic.
pick.
Yeah.
My little brother still will pose crab coring in photos because I showed him the Stick Stickly music video. And David's 29.
I love that.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like I remember the first time I heard Interlude, I was like, "What the fuck is
song.
that?"
What a song. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, Someday Came Suddenly is such like those that got it, they got it.
Yeah.
and like continue to put in good music in like kind of the Smokeahonis, Fumbles O'Brien era too. Um, and it's so proud to see the offshoot projects doing as well as they are too, like with Bill Murray and of Mice and Men. Like the fact that these guys are musically adventurous enough to go into other genres is always something that is really, really exciting.
And they're
Great
all
pick.
succeeding. All of
Yeah,
them have had
yeah.
success. It's not even like they've come out and like, just like they've all really shown strength outside of the band. And obviously Attack Attack has been making new music again with members that I don't know, and I'd be lying if I said I've been listening to it because I haven't. But
I've listened to a couple of their new songs, and it's certainly not, the same vibe that, their first couple albums gave. The only original member that is still in the band is Andrew Wetzel, who is the drummer. Um, but like you said it, this was like a super band before we even knew it, because you had Austin Carlisle as like unclean vocals. You mentioned it. He goes off and he starts with Mice and Men, another wildly popular band. You had Johnny Frank on the rhythm guitar, who then goes on and makes Bill Murray, and they're starting to blow up now. And then you had chubby Caleb Shomo, who did the keyboards. He did a little bit of rhythm guitar. He did like background unclean vocals. And he's got Beartooth right now, and all three of those are incredible, projects. So yeah, I love Attack Attack.
Right. It's
Danny,
like a
you're gonna
super band, but in reverse.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the broken down super band.
Yeah.
Low key a Christian band, you know.
Attack Attack was always my answer to the like scared of metal Christian about being like all metal is the devil's music. Be like, all right, well, listen to this very, very Christian song called Stick Stickly. And I'd like show them the lyrics. I'd be like, that's about the crucifixion. So it was always a fun rebuttal to have.
I went to a Christian camp. Danny was also there.
Yes, I
But
was.
there was one year that we had to put on like a Christian friendly like performance of
Skit
some
night.
kind. And yeah, skit night. And we decided to take the reins of the performance, and we said, no, we're just gonna go out there and we're gonna listen to Stick Stickly, and basically we're just gonna get up there and dance. And the faces of the crowd was certainly something.
That went over
Uh,
so well. I stand by that. That was a good time.
I like it.
it was a great pick. I'm with it,
Oh,
100%.
didn't think we'd see them that early though, which is exciting.
Well,
I
when you get a 4-for-1, I mean, you kind of have to take it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I had not considered the like offshoot arguments. That is
I
smart.
was I was assuming everybody was going to argue against me for taking that, but
No. That's
thanks,
smart.
guys.
You go for the root.
right. I I had them as a fourth rounder. I was hoping they were going to go ahead and slip down there, but no, great pick. Think I've got the next pick here,
Yep.
and this is another band that I think had a solid 3 album run where there's just you don't skip any of them. Probably the soundtrack to my teenage
I
days.
bet I know who you're
Uh,
gonna pick.
it's Mayday Parade.
Yeah, there it is.
Uh, A Lesson in Romantics. If like I said, if I had a top 3 albums, that's there, and Homesick by A Day to Remember is there. No skips. They then, I think it was like 2 years later, that you get Anywhere But Here, and then you have their self-titled that came out in 2011. They've sort of fallen off a little bit in my
They are
eyes.
releasing new music right now, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they're coming out with an album this year.
Yeah.
Is Sweet. Sweet.
I
I
was gonna
okay.
say, Jimmy, I have them on my list, but then I have the qualifier of specifically with Jason Lancaster. So I'm assuming that is the Mayday Parade you are especially after.
That's who I was introduced to.
Yeah.
Jason Lancaster is such a unique voice as well. He's not everybody's cup of tea, but man, like him and Derek Sanders together, they just made absolute magic. Like I said, no skips on their first album that they put out.
Shout out to one of the best song titles ever. I hate to be you when you find, or sorry, I'd hate to be you when people find out what the song is about.
What the song's about? Yeah.
Love that song title. I think it's later in the album though. I haven't heard that in a long time, but I think it's like at the second half of the album. Yeah.
And then if we're talking about branching off into albums or into other bands, Jason Lancaster goes and makes Go Radio,
That's right.
which,
You get Go Radio, basically.
they had some hits there as well. So yeah, I'm very happy with my second pick.
Jason Lancaster, as a vocalist, has a grit to his clean vocals that a lot of these really pingy tenors don't have. One of the largest sweeping critiques of tenor vocalists, and I say this being one, is that they're like really, really high, kind of breathy sounds, and they can't get that earthiness underneath them because they're so kind of predisposed to hit these high notes. Jason Lancaster can get those high notes, but with that, like, for lack of a better term, girth and substance to those notes. It's lovely. Solid pick.
Love me
Love
some
it.
girthy.
Yeah, I'm a
vocal.
cute.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
we
gonna
love
say
a
huge
girthy
girth guys.
vocal.
Good girth
A
guys.
Girthy
girthy vocal.
Oh, that's great.
Oh man. All right, Preston, you go ahead.
Yeah, man, there's been this is making me want to go to Warped Tour, just already. Yeah, so the band that I am gonna pick next, is, a band that was a little bit before my time and our time, but I've been listening to them since I was in high school. They had 2 albums in a row that to me are no skips. The last track on their first, like, large album, because I think they had a self-titled or like an early one, but off their album Sticks and Stones, the final song on that album is called The Story So Far, which is where that band came from. It's Newfound Glory. I've done a lot of prefacing. I love Newfound Glory. They are really cool because they're what got me into more like easy and hardcore music, because musically they are a little bit harder. They have a lot of breakdowns, right? Even though Ryan's voice is very high pitch. But I freaking love Newfound Glory. I mess with them so much. Like, the album Catalyst is just a no skipper for me. I've never seen them at Warped Tour. I've seen them twice at the Masquerade here in Atlanta, though. I think they're gonna be coming out with a new album this year. And they might be going on tour. So if you want to go see them, then let me know. But love that band. Just so many memorable songs. I wish I could have seen them at Warped Tour, like in like the early 2000s. Probably would have been an absolute vibe. But yeah, love that band. So
Solid pick.
No complaints here.
Yep.
My Friends Over You is an absolute banger. And
It-
I think that may have gotten me into the whole pop punk genre because, I was sitting on LimeWire in like the 7th or 8th grade, just
Yeah.
What
trying
a
to find a
millennial
cool band.
sentence. I was sitting on LimeWire in 7th or 8th grade, giving
Unreal.
my parents' computer a virus.
My
Yeah.
dad was cool with it, as long as I also got his shit downloaded, he was fine with it. We just had a bunky ass computer, but
Man. Yeah. If you never listened to like their album Catalyst, it's no skips for me. I mean, it's just banger after banger after banger. It's just, again, like I really like bands that just are very hooky, which is where the pop and pop punk comes from. It's not because it's pop music, it's because they use like a lot of vocal hooks. So like that's all they do. It's just yeah, which is where like Neck Deep, I think, definitely got their sound from and their vibe from. But yeah, huge, awesome band. Also, Jimmy, I can't wait for you to see my next pick because you're gonna laugh at it, because you were just saying that you went to church camp when you were a kid. Can't wait for you to hear this next pick.
I think I know where this is going. I hope I do, but I was wrong about your first pick. So, you could throw me for a loop for sure.
Yeah.
There are the weird crossover ones in here that you wouldn't think until you go back and you look at them again. You're like, wait a minute. Yeah, respectable pick though. Great work.
Catalyst was the album with the weird art with like the politician looking guy, and yeah. Iconic.
Yep. That's good
All right,
stuff.
Danny, you are up. What is your the last pick in the second round, and then you will also have first pick in the third round right afterwards.
Yeah, I'll be honest, guys. I'm getting my 1, 2, 3 which I am like kind of surprised these guys are here. One of them is kind of on a technicality, and that'll be my third pick. My second pick, and again, I'm incredibly vocal biased. This vocalist, I think you could make a really strong case is in like the top 5 current living singers. And I don't just mean in this genre, I mean in any genre. And she has proven it because she has crossed over into other genres. Me and Jimmy have our friend Dylan has this theory where he's like, every band makes one too many albums. This is one of 2 bands that I always use to kind of refute that because they're on album 10, still making good music. They are also evolving and maturing with their fans. So they're making new stuff that feels fresh, and they're changing and exploring their genre as their demographics listeners' ear matures. It is also just like if you want their Warped Tour era stuff, it's absolutely just banger after banger after banger. But yeah, it's Paramore. Haley Williams is insane as a vocalist, just an effortless tone. She it has explored other genres. She has just branched into pop. She's like did a set with Billie Eilish recently too. Um, and the group, most recent album that came out the year before last, I think This Is Why. That's one of the singles. I don't know if I can't remember if that's the name of the album. Was great. And it doesn't. I get really bored by bands that release the same sounding stuff over and over and over again.
If they've had 10 albums too. Yeah.
Right. Like
Yeah.
that. Like for just conversation's sake, the other band that I argue does this is a band that surprisingly never went to Warped Tour, which is the Foo Fighters. But yeah, no, these guys are still putting out good music. They're putting out inventive music. They're exploring new stuff. It doesn't sound like it's pandering or pedantic or anything like that. And just Haley Williams alone is just more than a reason that I am absolutely picking them as my number 2.
You could have simply said Paramore, Haley Williams, and I would have stood up and given you an applause. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
They
And
were
again, like granted, she's kind of the standout member, but those other guys are great too. But like you can't beat Haley in my opinion.
so
Number 3 for me. So first of the third round, this band went to Warped Tour once, and it was in the year 2000. But they have had enough of an impact on the genre that I have no problem picking them, and that's Green Day. If you want to talk like the pop punk big 4, it's probably like Green
Blink.
Day, Blink, maybe like
I'd put Newfound Glory in there.
Newfound Glory, and then I don't want to say the 4th one because I don't want one of you to pick it. But yeah, no, I am waiting. I am waiting for the like this generations that are currently kids. I am waiting for their like politically charged generation defining pop punk album that was American Idiot. It is insane. It's a concept album. And like, and it just doesn't even stop there. Dookie is insane too. And that came before that. You've got like absolutely some sleepers in their catalog, like absolutely some horrid albums. Like I can't stand Father of All Motherfuckers, like, or whatever the fuck it's called. It's
one of the worst albums that's ever been made.
It's horrible. But I
the
think
album cover is a unicorn farting fire.
Exactly. But I think Dookie, American Idiot, and like half of 21st Century Breakdown, and then a smatter. Yeah, it's absolutely. Like just songs like Basket Case, some of their older stuff. Like Good Riddance, Time of Your Life was in everyone's like PowerPoint project in middle school for a little bit. I think that I couldn't not pick them, even though they might not be the most like Warped Tory band that you think of.
In the early days, they were.
Yeah. But they played in 2000, Um, and I'm going with Green Day. And yeah.
Yeah.
I was ready to argue against that just because you prefaced that you had like this off the wall pick that had some technicalities, but I mean they played Warped Tour in 2000 and that was the cutoff, so no
Yeah, no,
argument for
I
me.
wasn't gonna pick Eminem or anything. Be like, I'm picking Marshall Mathers.
I had them for my fifth round because I thought they were going to end up being able to slip through the cracks, but I know that you have a 62 band long draft board over there, so absolutely nothing is sneaking by you. Great pick.
I want to
Yes,
add
that
that
was a great pick.
thankfully, now that I know Danny's first three picks, he's not going to take any of my other picks, so that's really great. I want to go back to Haley Williams real quick. Obviously, "Stay the Night" with Zed is an
Shout out.
absolute
Great song.
heater of a song, and so just to go back to what you were saying about her range, she can do anything. I mean, unbelievable. And then, yeah, Green Day is a great pick. They weren't even on my board because I'm just not a Green Day guy myself, but I really thought they were going to be early, so I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah.
Also, they made American Idiot a musical, did they not?
I've seen it.
They did. It's very it's okay.
It came to Atlanta in like 20 I don't remember when that was. I saw when it came. It was really good.
I'm glad you. Yeah, if it's done well, it can be well. They have to get vocalists that actually are familiar with singing that genre, and if they can do that, then it can turn out quite nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think I saw it very drunk once.
What is that the thing I love about American Idiot and that album is there's two songs on it. There's Jesus of Suburbia and then there's Homecoming that are like 4 or 5 songs mashed into one like 9-minute songs, and the transitions are seamless, and like the first song I ever learned to play on guitar was Jesus of Suburbia. I learned to play all the power chords, and I just learned to play those. And it's so much fun to switch and to transition between the chords and the parts on that song. I love that song. Like, and the music video to that song is the most 2000s emo shit of all time, because the main character is, I guess it's just Jesus of Suburbia, is in like this restroom. It's like a public restroom, and he's on the ground and he's like crying, and he has like razor blades in his hand, and he's like, I mean, it's so dramatic, but I'm just like, oh, and he has like the eyeliner and shit too. It's so good.
No,
I love it.
Boulevard of Broken Dreams was like, I think my like 2 or 3 most listened to song on like my iPod Nano for a while. I was just like looking out of a bus window on the way to like 7th grade, just like, they don't get me, listening to
on this podcast.
listening to Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
On my iPod Nano.
Great pick though.
But yeah, those are 2 and 3 for me.
All right, Preston, you are up next. I think
I
this
know
is,
Preston's pick. I know
Well,
Preston's pick.
And you guys, I mean, I've been waffling between 2 different bands for this pick. I think I'm gonna get them both, so I'm just gonna go with one of them. So I mean, again, Jimmy, you're gonna laugh at this band, but this is a band that has, I think they were probably the first like rock band that I ever listened to. And as someone who I grew up in like a Southern Baptist church. And so like they were very accessible to me because of their initial upbringing. They're not a Christian band so much anymore. Like, I think they maybe still are Christians, but they haven't made like Christian music in a long time. They just make like rock music. But actually the lead singer, he used to date Katy Perry when he was in high school, because I think they went to the same church. Anyways, this band is called Reliant K. And they are so dear to me as a band. Like, I think I've seen them 9 or 10 times now. Me and my brother, whenever they come to Atlanta, we never miss their show, and they never tour. Like, they tour once every like 4 or 5 years. So like, they're just one of those bands that like, they have a core audience that will sell out like small theaters now, but like, they're not, but I love them so much. And like their album, is just one of the most iconic like mid 2000s pop punk albums. The thing that was cool about them was that their song, you could either be like, yeah, they're talking about God, or they're talking about like a girl, right? So there's like, So, but there are some songs on there which clearly talking about like a girl. But I just love that band. Like, Matt Thiessen and Matt Hoops. Those are the two main dudes in it. Matt Thiessen's the lead singer. They've had a lot of different other members over the years, but as long as it's just the two Matts, they're always going to be a band. I think they might be coming out with some music at some point soon. They haven't released an album since 2016. It's called Air for Free, and I loved it. And I've been starving as a fan. I just want them to go on tour again, honestly. But they used to be very pop punky and a lot of fun, and they're super quirky. And I just will always have a special place in my heart for them. So I love Reliant K. So I
Great
say
pick.
great. Yeah.
Underrated Reliant K song, "The Last, the Lost, the Least," off of the Birds and
Oh
the
yeah.
B-sides.
Yeah, off of Bird and the B-sides. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love that song.
I love it. You know that. Let's go, dude.
Yeah,
I love that.
that's
That's
a deep
awesome.
Reliant K cut. It's
Man,
not
you're speaking my
like
language right now.
we know like "Be My Escape." We know "Who I Am," "Hates Who I've Been." We know
Great
Sadie Hawkins dance, but I want "The Last, the
song.
Lost, the Least" off of the Birds and the
Yeah.
B-sides.
Sadie Hawkins dance is one of those songs that I never listened to that song, but but live it's awesome. So yeah.
Jimmy, I don't know if you remember this. This is a fun high
Oh,
school story about me
I
and
remember. I was not going to bring it
yeah.
up, so I'm
I
glad
said
you
no.
are.
I'll bring it up. This is embarrassing. Um, I one of the very first times I got drunk was in Jimmy's basement. Um, on what was it, Parrot Bay rum,
Oh
and
wow.
I have like come to discover, and again, it hasn't changed as I've grown older. I get like emotional when I drink. I'm not an angry drunk. I am like I feel everything drunk, and like I got like blasted, drunk dialed my girlfriend at the time, and I think I sang "Be My Escape" to her over the phone when I was 16 years old.
Twice.
She was all for it.
Twice. Oh.
He went through, sung it once,
Oh, it's
and
unreal.
then he wasn't satisfied with that. He asked if he could do it
You
again,
do a take
and
two. Let me run it
she
back. I can
reluctantly
do
said
better.
yes. He ran it back. Mind you, me and the other three fellas are all high, and that's why Danny drunk, like or was drinking. We were all smoking some pot, and Danny didn't
Some what?
partake back then, so he was like, have anything else? Went and got the rum. Led to Reliant K being sung in my basement.
I was like on the floor, like holding my other friend by the hand just for like support, like singing into the phone. It was great.
That's unbelievable. I love that for you,
Little
honestly.
band.
I'm
I
glad you
love
brought
that
it
for
up.
you.
I didn't want to out you like that. So,
No,
but yeah,
I know who
that
I
is
am. I am done being embarrassed by who I am and who I was.
definitely
Who I
one of
am who
the.
hates who I've been, for lack of a better term.
I mean, it's a great song, a great riff. Like I was listening to that album the other day, and I was like, "This like that album is so well written. It's held up unbelievably well to
Mm.
me. Like it's like I love the band, but like to me, it's held up, and it's just really cool. So yeah,
Yeah, it's
Very
all
solid pick.
yeah.
I think I'm gonna sit here and diversify my board a little bit because I think I went too pop punk, and obviously there's a lot of genres that Warp Tour has to offer.
I'm scared.
Um, I've seen these guys twice. They put on a great show each and every time. I was lucky enough to see them a couple years back. Another band that has sort of evolved over the years where they just came in and was immediately like just straight metalcore screaming. And, now you see them do a little bit of more like pop stuff, a little bit more electronica, maybe new metal is what you would call it. But I'm taking Bring Me the Horizon. Ollie Sykes is one of my favorite vocalists out there. I actually did not like them in high school. I was like, oh no, this is way too heavy for me because I was trying to use pop punk to like get the girls, like, yeah, I have this soft side, Mayday Parade, Reliant K. But I've learned to really like them over the years, and yeah, they've evolved their sound and continued to stay relevant.
That's a
So
heavy
Bring
hitter
Me the
for sure.
Horizon.
Yeah.
As you guys know, I am a very big fan of dubstep and or bass music, and Bring Me the Horizon has done, or at least Ollie Sykes has done a lot of music with guys I like Keizo, Excision. So like, seeing them evolve and being able to do stuff like that and not care that people want to shit on them. Like, people love to shit on people for wanting to be creative, which is so crazy to me. I've never understood why people sit back and want to shit on somebody for trying something new. If you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it. Go fuck yourself, dead ass.
Man.
But at the end of the day, like, I love seeing that they're pushing the boundaries, and they were on my board. I really thought you were going to pick somebody else. I was about to shit my pants, but thank God you
I
didn't.
thought, Jimmy, you were going to pick someone else too. I'm surprised. There's a group I'm surprised you haven't picked yet specifically.
We'll see who that is.
Yeah,
I have no idea who you're both possibly thinking of. I couldn't, but like, then again, I've just gone through over 100 bands and I want to pick every single one of them. So, obviously our honorable mentions is going to go on for a hot minute
yeah,
because
absolutely.
so many choices to choose from. But, yeah, I like That's the Spirit, Sempiternal, started with Suicide Season, just a great discography.
Heavy hitter, yeah.
All right.
I believe, yep, Mike.
I feel like I'm being a sellout to some extent on my own picks, but I'm gonna pick this band because I just think they deserve to be off the board, and I'm taking My Chemical Romance. They
That one
played Warped
stinks.
Tour. They're a fantastic band. Like,
They are.
the Black Parade alone is so iconic in itself. I mean, I can sit there and think about the times in high school. Every kid was listening to that. Every kid was being emotional to that. You were figuring things out during that. When you listen to it, you go to karaoke, there's 4 songs off that album that somebody's singing. Doesn't matter.
They just remastered 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge. It just came out on Friday. So
See, there you go. See, so it's topical. I'm not gonna say a bunch of words. I really don't think I need to. You guys can say whatever you want. They got to come off the board.
That one stings. Good pick. The theater kid in me has always loved their theatricality. It is, yeah. The guitar work is also just like kind of leagues above what a lot of these other bands are doing too. Like, listening to the guitar intro on Dead
that's Mikey Way.
It just kicks immediately. You know that you're listening to something very different. Right. It's
what a song. Yeah, that's such a good song. Oh man.
And to like make it again, why I pick Green Day, writers of a concept album, to have like an entire song about a dying person, an entire album about a dying person.
Yeah.
I read a fun fact that I did not know, and maybe you guys knew this when I was researching it, but they formed their band because of September 11th. That's a fun fact that I read today. I was like, I don't know if this is true. This is a Wikipedia fact, but I was like, okay, cool.
There's a meme that is the like domino effect of 9/11 inspiring Gerard Way to start My Chemical Romance, like leading all the way to Umbrella Academy getting produced, because that is produced by Gerard Way. It's like,
I think it was like created by him, right? Yeah. Like I think that's like his child. Yeah. So
it was a very fun fact that I saw, and I was like, whoa. Just
also shout out to their last full album came out in 2011 called Danger Days. Love that freaking album. Like, this song.
That Ambulance is on that one.
Yeah. The song Bulletproof Heart off of that album is like one of my favorite songs ever. I think it's on my top like 5 on Spotify ever. But yeah, that's a great album. And you want to talk about another band that has like switched it up, because they only have 4 albums, which is kind of crazy. But they've switched it up. Yeah. Who knows if they're ever going to release music ever again, but they're going to be at Shaky Knees in September in Atlanta this year.
We will be there, baby.
Oh,
Let's go.
We will, dude. I'm so pumped to see My Chem, dude. They're going to be killer. Actually, no. We get Blink and we get My Chem as closers on like at Shaky Knees. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the festival you get to go to for free every year because you got a tattoo.
That's
what a genius. For my next pick, and I really don't think anybody here was going to take this band, and if you were, then sorry, but I'm taking Asking Alexandria. Oh no, I see. I'm sorry, Jimmy. This Danny Worsnop is arguably my favorite vocalist screamer of all time, and I'm so glad he's back with the band. I'd be
Mhm.
lying if I said I listen to a bunch of their new music because I don't. But Not the American Average is my favorite song of all time with
Yep,
somebody
it's great.
screaming. I've never felt from a beginning to end song like that song, and I couldn't say enough things. I actually even liked We Are Harlot by Danny Worsnop. I'm not gonna lie. I saw them at Welcome to Rockville, and because he's such a good singer and he's so fun on stage, in that at least he was in that aspect while he was on his hiatus, it was sick. And it was like country rock basically, and he was unreal. So I think musically he can do as much as anybody else, and I'm glad that they didn't have a really long thing of differences. But I will say, like, while he was gone for 18 months, I Won't Give In is also a top tier song for me. I think Dennis Stoff sang that song,
Yeah,
and honestly,
YouTuber.
absolute banger. I'm glad Danny Worsnop came back, but I will take them at least making that song to make up for it.
I think you just named my other top three album because I think Stand Up and Scream is another one that has banger
Banger.
after banger after banger. I'll listen to that through. They also went on a nice 3 album run. They had Stand Up and Scream, Reckless and Relentless, and then they had From Death to Destiny. You mentioned it, Danny Warstop, man. He hits everything. I think he had a side project that was Harlot, right? Or We Are
Yes.
Harlot.
Yep.
They were definitely more of like a southern rock, country, grungy kind of feel. He also has a solo album out, which has like more of like a bluesy sort of feel to it. So if you haven't listened to that, you should check that out. But Asking Alexandria was going to be my next pick.
Oh man,
So
I
that
didn't
that
know.
was a
I was
snipe.
Hold the
I
look
That's
out
I
for
had to get them. I would have. That is one band that if I didn't get them on this draft, I think I would have been upset. And that's why I was glad I picked fourth because I was like, if they make it through the third round, I don't have to take them third if I have somebody else that's just sitting there. So that worked out well for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Great pick. I am scrambling a little bit
I was
here.
gonna say, who's your contingency pick now?
I'm sorry, Jimmy. I didn't mean
Jimmy.
to do it to you.
There's
That's
a
what it's
group
all
that
about.
I cannot believe you haven't picked yet, Jimmy.
I think I know where you're going with that pick, and I have that one saved for my fifth pick. Um, I have a few bands on my list that I try to keep issues aside. Wink, wink. So if if we're just taking pure music, I'm gonna take Dance Gavin Dance.
There it is. Yep.
That
I
was
knew
it.
that was coming.
Okay,
See,
good.
that's
Yeah.
actually without that was gonna be your next pick, so I didn't think I was gonna take one from you. I'm gonna be
So
honest.
yeah. I mean,
Dance
I will
Gavin Dance was
gladly
number
take
5 on my
this.
board.
They were my favorite T-shirt from the old band T days from Hot Topic. They take it number one. It was like a light blue shirt, had pink and yellow. There was a snail on it, but they've had great member after, or maybe not great. Great's not the right word to say. The Johnny Craig, one of the most talented vocalists out there. You then replace him with Kurt Travis, who just slid into the band seamlessly, banger after banger. He leaves. Johnny Craig comes back. He leaves again. You have Tillian Pearson, another solid vocalist, better vocalist than a person. And then they just picked up a new guy. I can't remember his name, but he's pretty solid as well. Will Swan, their guitarist. You literally have a genre named after him. You have Swancore. So he's had so much influence across, like, I think Preston, you mentioned it earlier, like the Tumblr music days. Like if you're gonna put that into like one genre, I think he's affected a lot of bands like nowadays. And yeah, and what's his name? John Mess. John Mess, great vocalist as well. Unclean.
I love it.
Battle for what is it? Downtown Battle Mountain, something like that. That's what that one's called.
Downtown Battle Mountain. You got Downtown Battle Mountain 2.
Yeah,
Happiness. Happiness was
Happiness
with
is
Kurt
good.
Travis, and Strawberry Swisher Part 1 and Part 2, two of my favorite songs.
They have put out some very like funky stuff recently too. Um, all sorts of really inventive prog metal kind of stuff, honestly, in a very kind of eclectic way. But yeah, I mean, if we're talking girthy vocalists, Johnny Craig, absolutely.
Another better vocalist than a person, and we
Oh,
do not,
by
or
far.
we condone the allegations across him and Tillian Pearson. We shame on them for that. But if we're talking about absolutely soulful voices, Johnny Craig is probably my favorite vocalist of all time.
Hey, at least you picked the band that basically kicked him out or had him leave. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they were
It's not
like,
like you're
please
picking.
get out of here.
It's not like you're picking slaves at this point.
They kicked him out too.
Yeah, well, exactly.
And then Emarosa kicked him out. Like
Yeah.
this is another one of those bands where like if we're grouping in, like if I get this guy, then I also get the three of them.
Yeah, then you get
I also
Emarosa.
get Emarosa, another great band. I have a song title of them. There's like tattooed
Emarosa
across my
tattoo.
chest. Yep, got an Emarosa tattoo. Slaves was a great band when Johnny Craig was in it, and now he is a part of Old Flame. I will say
Well.
Johnny Craig looks like he's doing well. He's been clean for like 5 years, and he's currently running a promotion on Instagram for laptops or MacBooks. If you enter this contest, you get to win a MacBook. These were not
From the
stolen.
one and only. From the one and only. These were not stolen.
But yeah, happy to get Dance Gavin Dance here.
My next.
Yeah,
Okay, I think the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to do one more that is like something that, I would do. And then I think my fifth pick, I'm going to do something a little bit more outside of the box. So,
do before you say anything, do you want to go ahead and all of us like not say our fifth pick, but for our fifth pick, it doesn't need to be the most known band out there. It can be a very low key band that is just like your band, like
You want a fringe pick.
a fringe pick, essentially, like something that you sort of think like encapsulates you. Like me and Mike did this for our wrestling draft, where we drafted our top 10 wrestlers, and were either of them that we chose actually top 10? No, but like those are our guys, and we wanted to stick our name with them. So do we want to go with a off the walls 5th round pick for everybody?
Yes.
yeah.
I'm still struggling deciding between which two I'm going to pick because I got a lot of options I'd be really happy with.
You got time to pick. I think I know who I'm going to go with. All right, but Preston, go right ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, for my fourth pick, I am going to go with a band that I have loved for a long time. Their 2015 record called Copacetic has been something that I have not stopped listening to in 10 years now. And they are a Midwest emo band out of Chicago, Illinois. They're called Knuckle Puck. And I just they're a band that I can throw on in any mood. They are emo, but they're also have a lot of upbeat stuff. But you feel when you listen to Joe Taylor's vocals. They are one of the most fun concerts that I've ever seen. I've seen them 4 times. Once at Warped Tour. And they're just a freaking blast of a band, and they rip, and his vocals are amazing, and they sound incredible live. And not all their albums are perfect. Like I think they had one that came out called was it 2020 or something like that? I think it was 2020. Yeah.
Yep.
And
2020 came out in 2020.
Yeah. And I'm not the biggest fan of 2020, but like Copacetic and Shapeshifter are 2 of like my favorite albums ever. Like Shapeshifter is just banger after banger after banger, and a lot of the side projects that Joe Taylor has done, and the other members of their band, like there's a band called Home Safe that has been around for about a decade now, and they are an offshoot of Knuckle Puck. And then Joe Taylor has done also a few side bands as well that I just like all their side bands that they do. So they've just been a really awesome band. And like I love Midwest emo, and obviously like Modern Baseball is like one of like the heaviest hitters there, but like for me, it's Knuckle Puck because I'm a little younger than I think modern baseball's core audience. So Knuckle Puck was like a really big band for me, and yeah. So I've stayed very conventional with these picks, and I'm okay with that because I love all these bands. But they're number 4, and they're just a great band. If you've never seen them live before, they come to the Masquerade. It seems like 2 or 3 times a year. Like they're always here. So go check them out. Awesome band.
They were also named after the knuckle puck shot,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
was made famously by Mighty Ducks 2.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
fun fact. I love
like
their
Coach Bombay,
cover
shout
of
out Coach
Chocolate.
Bombay.
You they were on Punk Goes Pop 6, which I mean, Danny knows this. I'm a sucker for covers just in general.
Yeah.
But Chocolate was a banger. I'm not as familiar with them as like these other bands, but I'm obviously like familiar with their stuff. But solid pick.
Yeah,
Solid
I
pick
mean,
nonetheless.
I'm a sucker for Midwest emo with really clean vocals where like the singer can like strain his voice and have a little bit of a twinge of like some like screaming in there, but he doesn't quite scream, but it's just like it's very melodic. Like I love melodic bands in this genre and they like hit that to a T. So huge fan. So
They hit Preston's G spot for sure.
they do. It's like I'm not as big a fan of like the screaming. I like when like I think the most I venture into screaming is like easycore. Like I'm a fan of easycore, which is kind of a genre that's completely dead now. But some of the older bands like well, I'd say 4 Year Strong, Settle Your Scores. That's another fun one. They will scream sometimes, and I like it when it's sprinkled in, but I don't like when it's the thing that is featured. You know.
Right. If you don't mind me getting like vocal nerdy at you for a second, it sounds like what you're really into is what's called vocal distortion,
Mm-hmm.
which is singing
That sounds hot.
singing a clean note, um, but then engaging what are called your false chords or cartilage, over the top of it that give it that scratchy, rattly sound. It is still a sung melody, but through that engagement of the vocal tract, you get that grit over the top.
Parker Can is really good at doing that.
Yeah.
Also, a band that has not been drafted so far that I don't feel like it's weird to say it. Sum 41, which is crazy that they have not been drafted at this point because they're kind of fucking legends. But yeah, they also do that a lot. So yeah,
When you were going Newfound Glory, I thought you were gonna go some 41.
yeah.
That's just what happens when you have so many
No.
bands to choose from.
See.
So many.
This is just highlighting how many great bands there are from this festival.
Also, Fall Out Boy has not been picked yet either, which is
Fall Out Boy's there too. Yep. There is. Once we get on the other end of the last rounds, we need to like just kind of go through the honorable mentions of like what we think is surprising that hasn't gotten picked.
Tell that Mick he just made my list of things to do today. Love that song.
All right. So is that me next?
Yep, you got back-to-back picks.
Yeah. I'm choosing between 5 right now, and 3 of them are really big bands, and 2 of them are fringy picks. So I think I will pick one big and one fringy of those. For my 4th pick, for my really big band, they only played Warped Tour once, but it was in 2014. You want to talk about a band who is unapologetically ventured into making sure that they don't stagnate stylistically, and it is like of like kind of the new metal big first bands and of like the genre blending legends. It's got to be Linkin Park, who played Warped Tour in 2014. Speaking of that voluntary vocal distortion, that's Chester Bennington. Rest in peace. Just an incredible writer, an incredible vocalist.
Okay.
Like just starting to look at their catalog. Like you start with Hybrid Theory. That's where it begins. Is this whole interpolation of beats, electronics, turntables, hip hop, and rapping done in that way, with emo music. Not to say that they are the first band to put rapping in metal. Like obviously you've got like Korn and that sort of thing, but
Limp
um,
Bizkit.
yeah, and Limp Bizkit too. Um, but to like have it in that very specific sort of intersection of like emo new metal rap, I think Linkin Park is great. They've also written incredibly like soaring melodic vocal lines. Like if you go all the way to some of the more recent work, like Waiting for the End is an incredible song. Where Chester is just like belting these high like C's and D's over and over and over again, which are they're crazy. I
Piano is so pretty in that song too.
Yeah. Yeah, like they play with different instruments all the time too. They're doing stuff with pianos, they're doing stuff with strings, they're doing stuff with turntables. They have those heavier hitting moments. I'll be honest, and it's why that I love Chester's work so much that I was really, really let down by their newest album with their newest vocalist. I was not a fan. It did
They
not
should
seem
have changed their name. You
yeah,
know,
it's not the same band. It seemed like an album that was hell bent on nostalgia baiting and trying to get us to accept that new vocalist. Um, but that aside, I like Linkin Park with Chester. With Chester, yeah, I couldn't not pick those guys. They're insane.
The only thing I think I would say is I think Emily Armstrong has gotten some hate, and which is unfair to her, whether or not it goes with what Linkin Park should or shouldn't do. Like the one thing I have hated is like people have been hating on her as a vocalist, and it's like not like she came up and said, "Hey guys, I'm joining your band and I'm gonna do this." Like they had a creative idea. For some people, it didn't work, and that's totally fine. But I just want to say, like and I'm not saying you're saying this obviously, but I've seen some hate for her, and I think it's just very unjustified. And it doesn't fit what everybody wants it to be, but I don't think the album was terrible myself. But it's still not my cup of tea, but
Sure. I
you know.
did not dislike the album because of her vocal performance. I thought it was way too safe of an album. I thought it was a little bit less ambitious than what they could have put out. But I mean, like I will also absolutely acknowledge there is a lot of misogyny in the fandoms for some of these bands that she is absolutely getting some hate, probably just because she's a woman. So I'll absolutely acknowledge that. My issue with Emily Armstrong personally is her defense of Danny Masterson. But that isn't something that we have to get into.
We're talking strictly vocals. We already went
Yeah.
through Johnny Craig. We don't
Yeah,
need to
exactly.
do any more.
It's a hard position to be in because I think you could have put any vocalist in there and they would have probably also received a certain amount of hate. I do
Absolutely.
agree in the misogyny thing a little bit just because,
It
I
is
know they
a
wanted a guy who
Herculean,
fit more like, yeah.
yeah, it's a Herculean task to fill in the shoes that are left by Chester Bennington. But
Yeah, I also think it would be the same way, like though vice versa. If like let's say somebody took over for Paramore, it was a guy vocalist, like we would all be
yeah, oh
like,
my
"What the
God.
heck?" It wouldn't make sense
they
to
should
us
just change
because
the
we'd be
name of
like,
the band.
"What?"
Yeah,
Yeah, at that point,
it should
just be
just be a new
different. Yeah,
project. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that is
and
like
nobody's gonna be upset at that.
with just like how inherently prolific some vocalists are, where they are like quite literally the sound that a lot of people associate with how that band sounds. A really rocky vocal transition can sometimes really throw some fans off. I always like to try to think that people can keep an open ear and can stay flexible, but I think, in my opinion, and this is my own bias, that it is one of the harder positions and vacancies to fill when you are keeping the same band under the same name and the same vibes.
I do agree.
Yeah, but that's
Shout
that's
out
my
Fort Minor.
that's my pick four.
Mike Shinoda.
I think that yeah, I'm gonna go fringier with my fifth pick. I'm just deciding between two of them.
I'm excited to hear these, y'all.
Man, I'd be happy with either of these. One of them absolutely has some recency bias, and I think I need something heavier on my list. And both of these bands are heavier. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to talk about the band that I'm not picking just for a second then. Of these,
Well, don't do
remaining
it.
two.
We don't do it yet, just in case we're gonna pick them.
Yeah. Okay, I'll keep that for later. Yeah, I think I'm picking Knock Loose. 100%.
You took mine.
And it is because it is insane that you won't go until you're supposed to. Like it is one of my, I think like top 10 albums that I ranked last year. The fact that it is a genre that is known for sounding so sludgy and so noisy sounded so clean. The production of that album is kind of a miracle. Their feature of Poppy is electric. The things that they are writing about are thought provoking. The lyrics are great. The vocal performance is unheard of. Um, and yeah, I think to like balance out my list because I went a little bit more mainstream than I had anticipated, wrapping out with Knock Loose absolutely feels great.
You ever
They
been to one of their shows before?
know, but I
Or
do
one
want
of
to
their
talk
shows?
about. I want to go to one, but I think that the last thing that I really want to address about Knock Loose is them performing on Jimmy Kimmel is one of the most important and exciting like moments for metal that has happened recently. Within a
Hardcore metal.
year, we got Gojira at the Olympics and Knocked Loose at Jimmy Kimmel, and it was so exciting to see them and their response to the outcry, which was just if it scares you, good. It's such a great like that encapsulates, I think, the kind of attitude that a lot of these bands like to think that they have. Um, yeah, but I'm more than happy to have them
I
round
say
off.
one thing about them. So, after they released, I think it's a different shade of blue. In 2019, I saw them at the Masquerade later that year in Atlanta, and I didn't know anything about the band, but my friend is really into them, and he took me, and I left that fucking show with bruises all up and down my rib cage. I had the best time. Like I went to bed that night. I was so hurt. Like literally, like I got so many elbows. Like it was the most insane mosh pit I've ever been a part of in my entire life. And I've been to some crazy mosh pits. Knock Loose, different animal, unbelievable. They were at the Eastern, I think, last year, and I wasn't in town. I don't think. Otherwise, I would have asked Mike to go with me to the show. But dude, what a band. So, and they won a Grammy, so shout out to them, which
Yes,
is
Yeah, I was
they
gonna say this sort of like your picks have been sort of mainstream here, but like you took the least mainstreamy, technically mainstream band because if they have won a Grammy and they've also been on Jimmy Kimmel,
yeah
they've hit
they have had a
mainstream.
moment. They absolutely have. Um, but but between that and the other bands that I was deciding between, which I'll talk about when we get done. I think what did it for me was just the amount that I have been replaying Knock Loose. Like I always joke with my wife that I was like, there's your bench max, and then there's your Knock Loose bench max, or your like Rage Against the Machine bench max. And it just anytime I'm at the gym, it's like them, Rage, and System of a Down are like
Mm.
my gym rotation.
That's another big band that hasn't been.
Picked up yet.
Is
Yeah.
System did System play?
I never saw them on a lineup when I was going
I
through them,
think I
but they
feel like they played.
I was like,
I
I
could.
I'll
would have
double
picked
check.
System like second if they were
Oh,
on.
well,
yeah, I never saw them
I
on a
would have
lineup when I
assumed
went through it.
I would have assumed that they played at Warped in like the early 2000s, but
No,
I
they didn't. I'm looking at the spreadsheet of like the whole.
wow.
That's wild. Sugar
And let me
Ray
double
has
check. Let me
played.
just double check. Sorry.
Sugar Ray played Warped
Sugar
Tour.
what, bro?
Sugar
Sugar what,
yeah.
bro?
Sugar yeah.
I will
Oh,
say,
McGrath,
I
Canadian.
got the attention of my now girlfriend because I was wearing a black knocked loose tee that I got when they last came in, or maybe it wasn't the last they came into Atlanta. They came with Bring Me the Horizon a few years back. So shout out to them because
Knock
without
Loose
them,
playing Cupid.
That's right. That what they intended to be. That's what they set out to be when they started making music. Um,
Hardcore metal band. Hell
uh,
yeah.
no, if System had played Warped Tour, which they did not, I just double checked. Yeah, would have absolutely picked them second. Serge Tankian is just a beast and monster unto himself. But those are my picks, and I'm sticking by them.
Mm, I love it.
All right, Preston. Let's hear your fifth pick.
All right, I don't want to prolong this for too long. I'm kind of torn between two bands here for my fifth one. One of them is unconventional-ish, but not completely unconventional. The other one, so they're both still rock bands, but and I'm trying to decide. It's the fifth pick. Let's have some fun with it.
Yep, here comes Katy Perry.
No, it's actually not even like that controversial, but it might be a band that you guys have never heard of. It's a band called the Pretty Reckless.
I haven't
Oh
heard
yeah,
of that.
I know
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
Reckless.
I don't know I don't know how popular they are. But I have seen them twice in person. I've never seen them at Warped Tour.
What's the lead singer's name?
Taylor Momsen.
Yes.
Shout out Cindy Lou Who. Shout out Little Jay, Little Jenny from Gossip Girl. It's a great show. No, they're just a cool band. Like they're just a rock and roll band, and like there aren't that many just like rock and roll bands anymore. Like I would say, like I know Danny, I know you shouted out Foo Fighters earlier for being a band that released the same album over and over again, but there aren't really like many true rock bands anymore, and the Pretty Reckless is just like pure uncut rock and roll, and like they're a lot of fun, and they've made some banger songs and albums. So and I didn't know that they had played Warped Tour until I saw it this morning, and I was like, I love that band. Like they're in my top. I think they're in my top 25 all-time listen to on Spotify, which is kind of cool. I didn't know that, but just an awesome band. Taylor Momsen has a fucking killer rock voice. Like it's a little like husky. It's very soulful. It's like super sultry. It's just an awesome rock voice, and like her band that plays behind her they just shred. So they're just an awesome rock and roll band. Just like pure. I think they're going on tour with AC/DC, which is kind of crazy because AC/DC is old as fuck now, you know. But it matches. Yeah. So, but yeah, just really cool band.
I wish they played Warped Tour.
Yeah. Who AC/DC?
Yeah,
That'd be crazy.
There are a couple like classic rock artists that played Warped Tour that are surprising. Like
Billy Idol played Warped Tour.
Billy Idol. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Billy Idol played Warped Tour.
I saw Billy Idol at Warped Tour.
Nice. I saw him at Shaking Knees a few years
Oh
ago.
man, you guys just took Jimmy's pick.
Nah, it was not my pick.
Anyways, that's my
Great pick. Yep. Like I said, we're going a little bit off the walls, and this band is
Ooh, Vans off the wall.
a little bit bands off the wall. Warped Tour all ties together. This band is not great by any means. It is just like it's something that encapsulates me, you know. And I'm gonna say most people probably haven't seen them live. I've gotten the chance to see them live a couple of times. That's how I, first met them. They are a French band out of Paris. They have released one of my favorite albums, Something for Nothing, and it is Chunk No Captain Chunk.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
I only know them by the name.
They just a solid band, you know. I think they were signed to Fearless Records back in the day. I think that is another like low key Christian band. I could be wrong, but In Friends We Trust is the soundtrack to my probably junior year of high school. We have fun times on road trips just because of the beginning of it.
Jimmy would get so fucking lit to this song. Like Soul Train clapping to Chunk No Captain Chunk.
Like I said, it is in the grand scheme of things not a great pick, but I'm glad that I got to leave them with.
Yeah,
I'm
your
leaving the
pick.
band with it. Yep.
As long as you're happy.
Have fun. Yeah.
Having a little fun with it. Chunk No Captain Chunk.
I just
Great
love their
name.
name.
I mean,
Great name,
honestly.
yeah.
If we were gonna do a draft of names, they're at the top.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they might have been my
First
number
rounder
one.
for sure.
Good band.
And you also had Dance Gavin Dance, which is also a great name for
Right. I think I got the names. If we're ranking basically off names, I think I'm sitting pretty good.
Jimmy
If
wants
I can take
sentence band names.
if I can take Blink 182's albums, then I think I got it.
Yeah.
But Mike, why don't you go ahead and round us off, and then we can jump into the honorable mentions.
All right. I guess it's unconventional. I mean, they were a band first, but I'm taking them for a member specifically, and I'm taking from first to last, and it's just so I can get Sonny Moore, aka Skrillex. I said it already. I am a dubstep fiend. Dubstep would not be where it is today without Skrillex. There are other influences within dubstep that probably got it started, but everybody knows Skrillex.
Just put
Doesn't
out a new
matter
album.
what. Yeah. Yes, he did. It's called. I literally just had it up so I could say, "Fuck you, Skrillex. You think you're Andy Warhol, but you're not." And it's 40 something songs of just straight up back to back. They're all put together. It was an unbelievable album. There's nobody that's that has taken a genre and changed it in such a positive way to make it into something as Skrillex has. And I'll be the first person to tell you that like Skrillex is not my favorite dubstep artist. One, because I have like ADHD, and two, because I'm probably on the autism spectrum to some extent because I love repeating noises like crazy. So I have specific dubstep that I like the repetitive sound, and I will headbang rhythm till the day I die. But without Skrillex, these things never become possible. Also, Skrillex actually has an incredible voice. He was the vocalist. He was supposed to be the lead guitarist now, which is funny because in From First to Last, he probably could have played any instrument. He's actually so good with instruments. It's not even like his brain works and is wired differently. But before he left the band, and he left the band because he had like vocal injuries. Like he had to have multiple surgeries on his vocal cords. He became the lead vocalist, and their album, and I had it pulled up. Dear Diary, My Teen Angst has a body count. If you have not listened to it, go back and listen to it because Sonny Moore is an unbelievable singer and has taken genres of music that would have never been possible to a whole new level that I have fallen in love with. So From First to Last is my last pick.
Solid pick.
That's good stuff.
That rounds off the draft. We definitely got a wide variety of people here. We'll go ahead and go through the honorable mentions. I have the list pulled up here in front of me. I'm just gonna go through, not name every single one, but like, the bigger ones. If you have somebody in mind that I do not say, stop me and just throw it out there. We do have 311,
Yep.
303.
Yep.
A Loss for Words, Skylit Drive, Abandon All Ships. The Academy is Alisana.
No one picked Alisana. I did notice that.
I had them on my board. All Time Low didn't get picked.
I
think that's a big one.
Yeah,
I've never been the biggest fan of them, so I mean,
I think I just liked Mayday Parade so much more, and they
Yeah.
are like cut from a similar cloth in my head.
yeah,
For sure. I'm pretty sure they've gone on like some co-headlining tours as well. I feel like they often get bunched together. What else do we have here?
I didn't pick Avenged Sevenfold, which feels weird with how much I listen to them. And
I didn't know they were on.
5 times.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're a bunch.
And I think it's just because how much less I've enjoyed their catalog since the Rev passed away. Like Waking the Fallen, City of Evil, and their self-title are all great albums. But I think it's just like my distaste for everything after that I was like, I can't.
For sure.
Sum 41 didn't get picked.
What about Taking Back Sunday too?
Taking Back Sunday is a big miss.
Yeah.
Anti-Flag, Amity Affliction. Amity Affliction was on the list for me for sure.
I got real close to picking Protest the Hero on the last one.
That would have been a good pick.
Just insane vocals, prog metal, lovely stuff. If you guys don't listen to Protest the Hero, check out their song Blood Meat or From the Sky. Also like heavy conceptual stuff. They have like a whole album about fighting Cthulhu. It's great.
You got Atreyu, Attila, August Burns Red is a big
August
one.
Burns Red. I was gonna say August Burns Red should definitely be on this list. Yeah.
Avril Lavigne performed once. I don't think it was.
I didn't want to make my board too complicated.
What else? Bad Religion, Bad Omens.
Kill Switch Engage.
Kill Switch Engage, Beartooth, but technically.
Hey, I took him. I got him. Okay, suck
got
it.
Snuck in there.
You got it.
Suck it.
Say Pierce the Veil yet?
Did not say Pierce the Veil.
I think he's going in
Pierce-
alphabetical order.
Pierce the Veil
That's what
and
I'm
Sleeping
assuming.
with Sirens, another two bands that you sort of group in together.
Yeah. I'm not a
both
big fan of that like subgenre, so I was never gonna pick them. But
squealy vocalist.
yeah, who is that? Is that?
Ellen
Gwen?
Quinn and Vic
The
Fuentes.
Fuentes.
Yeah, I'm just not a huge fan. Yeah.
What else do we have here? Born of Osiris, if you want to get heavy. Boys Like Girls. That was a big
Boys Like Girls.
middle school girl
So,
band.
Yeah, they're
I was
such a
gonna
Warped
say,
Tour band, but I was just not into it.
like I kind of group them in with like the whole like the All Time Low, the Metro Station, like that.
The Kings.
We the
Yeah,
Kings,
like that, like that prior to prior to that era that was like the Wonder Years and Story and all those people, like the mid 2000s to late 20s to like late 2000s, it was like All Time Low, Metro Station, 303, like those kind of bands. I wasn't super into that time period, so but All Time Low is a good band though. I think they've had some really good albums. Like their
Dear
first album.
Maria, just
No
Yeah.
Sublime though.
no Sublime.
No one picked
Sublime was
Sublime.
there.
There's like no ska, I don't think really on anyone's list. So like Real Big Fish, Sublime,
I almost took Real Big Fish.
Less Than Jake, Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
Yeah, ska's never done it for me ever.
I think
Oh,
ska
man.
went prior to us.
I love a horn. I
like a horn too. I'm a sucker for a saxophone being thrown.
Horny
in
for
there. So I
horn.
like that
Yeah.
we're getting a little bit of metal or like that genre throwing. Like Bill Murray uses saxophone all the time, and it is. I feel like he's started something because it's starting to pop up more and more now. Breathe Carolina, they had a little bit of a run there. They're more, I guess, electronic. Bullet for My Valentine.
No Bullet.
Banger, man.
Bullet
No
was down
Bullet.
at my like 15.
Some
They
of
were,
the best.
they were up on my
riffs
board, but
ever.
Mm.
Some iconic riffs in that band. Yeah, that's a good band.
Hey
Didn't get
Monday.
picked either.
What was that?
Fall Out Boy didn't get picked, which we already talked about.
Yeah, Fall Out Boy. Cartel. Hey Monday / Cassidy Pope. Shout out Cassidy Pope making it onto The Voice.
yep.
Chiodos.
No
Chiodos
Chiodos, yeah.
on my
Poor
board.
Craig.
You didn't throw Cash in there. Just want to say, electronic band, fantastic.
It's a
I
cool
know
band.
Preston likes Cash too.
Yeah.
Coheed and Cambria and Cobra Starship.
One of Cambria is good, but
Lot
they
of-
just never done it for me. I don't know
I
why.
want to get into Coheed and Cambria more. Just there's so much lore with them. Oh, like they have like an in-album universe that is in like installments that was released non-linear in a non-linear sense, like kind of all the Star Wars episodes, and it's like it's so much work. But Claudio's a good vocalist.
I see Dayseeker here. Dayseeker is starting to have a little bit of a resurgence now. I didn't know they ever played Warped Tour, so they're big on TikTok right now. D's Nuts. D's Nuts is the band that I was thinking of earlier. Where I'm like, if you wanted to pick that for like your fifth band, like nobody knows D's Nuts. But I believe they're an Australian band, so shout out D's Nuts. The Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah, I'll pick the Devil Wears Prada.
No.
Never did it for me.
Great movie, great band.
Yup. Drugs, Destroy, Rebuild Until God Shows. That was Craig Owen's second band. That was pretty big. Emarosa, like we said, Eminem technically performed at Warped Tour, but he was in '99.
Speaking of rappers, there's this indie or kind of rapper that you guys should check out if you haven't heard of him called Watsky, who is
He was there.
great. Who was there a few years checking out his album Cardboard Castles, or what is his other one that is like really fucking good, that has Don't Be Nice on it. What is that?
They always sort of tried to sprinkle a little bit of rap in there. So Waka Flocka Flame has been a performer at Warped
Yeah.
Tour.
Performed everywhere.
Machine Gun
for real.
Kelly, obviously. Mod Sun, Riff Raff. Riff Raff is a Warped Tour alumni, technically. So
That's
they
crazy.
they try to sprinkle a little bit of
Jody High Roller.
like we said, Fallout Boy, Falling in
I want to give
Reverse,
an E.
but
If
A
Fall Out
mirror.
Boy didn't turn into Imagine Dragons, I might remember them more.
Yeah, that's very fair.
They
Hot
make me
take.
so upset, dude. Like what a band. Like their first few albums were so good, and then they just turned into a generic stadium rock band.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
Ugh.
very fair.
we
I think that like, what's the one after Cork Tree? It's the one with the sheep on the album.
From Here to Infinity,
Yeah, from here to yeah, yeah. That's the last one I like really enjoyed. There was some stuff off of uh the one after that that was like okay. What was that? Quadado? I'm almost certainly saying that wrong.
it's Infinity on High, by the way. By
Gotcha. Yeah,
yeah.
it's like take over, break over. Thanks for the memories.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a
this ain't
great
a
song.
machine. It's a goddamn arms race.
Yeah.
That's I think the last one where I was like, oh, that sounds like Fall Out Boy.
Yeah. Also, can I be say wait, did Panic ever play Warped Tour?
No, I checked.
Okay. I'm actually glad because I don't like that band.
I want to shout out the band A Mirror. They have a cuck song, Drug Dealer Friend, literally talking about like he wants to watch a girl suck another dude's dick right now, and
Right
he'll
now.
fucking
Right
love it.
now.
That's literally how the song starts. The only
Day.
song that I remember by A Mirror at all, but I can't forget the first part of the song.
we got Flogging Molly. That is
Yeah.
another like
Yeah.
Irish kind of
I've
sounding
seen them.
Murphys.
They're awesome.
Dropkick
Oh,
Murphys too, in that vein.
Dropkick Murphy. Yep. For Today, another Christian band. I've seen them a few times. Great show. Forever the Sickest Kids. 4 Years Strong. We mentioned them a little bit
Well,
earlier
you're
on.
strong. We all float down here. Great song. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a fun
Uh,
band.
I'm pretty sure like 10 years after their beef with A Day to Remember, they put out another diss track against A Day to Remember. So, generational hater. We love those.
I
Yeah.
love being one of those.
Nobody
right.
picks The Offspring.
The Offspring, yep. G-Eazy. G-Eazy fell off real hard.
Yeah, he
He was
did.
one
That
of
was
my
like,
favorite.
Team Halsey, baby.
yeah.
Go Radio, we mentioned them a little bit earlier. Good Charlotte.
They were high on my list. If I had more than 5 picks, they might have been next.
Gym Class Heroes. I almost had them as my
Oh
fifth.
man.
Sure.
Yeah.
I like them.
Just very, very cool. Just very cool.
Yeah. Wow. I forgot about them. Man.
No Simple Plan or Rise Against.
That was like wasn't Gym Class Heroes? That was like Travis McCoy.
Yep.
Who else was in that band?
Couldn't tell you.
They spun out, or I can't remember the other guy's name right now, but he spun off and did something else as well. So
Yeah.
shout out them.
Yeah.
Hands Like Houses. That's a personal thing for me. I've seen them a few times. They're an Australian band, really good. Hello Goodbye, Hey Monday, Hit the Lights,
Hawthorne Heights and the
Hawthorne
H's.
Heights.
Have
I
y'all
really
heard
love
of
them.
a band called The Starting Line?
I've heard of them. I don't think I've listened to them though.
They're like early 2000s, but they had an album called Say It Like You Mean It, and they have a song called The Best of Me. It's like their most famous song. Absolute. I was listening to it the other day. What a friggin' ripper of a song. Like, go check it out. Can we do one shout out for a band that's on this year's Warped Tour but has not been in the past?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay, all right. If anybody's listening to this podcast, go check out the band called Origami Angel. They are fucking rad as shit. They are so much fun. They combine like 5 different genres. They're like emo, easy core, like pop, just all the above. They are like an absolute blast. I saw them live after their first album came out, and then they're just a fun band, and they're gonna be at Warped Tour this year, and I'm pissed that they're not gonna be anywhere near Atlanta because they're just an absolute blast. So love that band. Also shout out State Champs, one of the most fun bands that I've ever seen
Big Champs is
live.
good.
Yeah,
Yep.
just like pure, unadulterated, just fun, like pop punk. Like there's no like I feel like they just are who they are. So yeah.
Did anybody have Ice-T on their big board? Because he's
No, I
performed
didn't.
2 separate years. They had Ice-T.
That's crazy.
Incubus.
Mm.
They performed. Issues. You know, Tyler Carter. I've got a few pictures with him deep in my my Facebook, but I'm pretty sure I was of age, so there was no grooming allegations there.
Thank God.
Mm.
Jack's Mannequin, Jeffree Star. We joked a little bit about Jeffree Star about who was going to choose him. They fucking blew up like post Warp Tour. I know they got like a huge makeup brand right now. So shout
Jeffree
out
Star is
Jeffree Star.
gigantic and is everywhere all the time, especially in content creation. And that's kind of what Jeffree Star always seemed like it was going to be. It was always like an entity to some extent.
Mm.
I saw a video earlier of Jeffree Star talking about the tunnels under LA. I don't know what that's true. I never had heard of that before, but that just happened to pop up on my Instagram. So,
Kid Rock performed at Warp Tour.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Killswitch Engaged.
oh man,
Best
Howard Jones.
WWE theme song of all time.
Howard Jones is such a good singer.
Yeah.
And I just sucks that like his voice just couldn't hold because he's arguably one of my favorite singers of all time.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Like Holy Diver is so sick.
You got Korn, Kubla Khan, Let Live. That's somebody who I wanted to draft, but they're more personal. Danny, I think you mentioned Less Than Jake.
Yeah. Those guys have played Warped Tour like 14 times.
Yeah, they 16. I would be surprised if they weren't the most attended
Yeah,
band.
the biggest attended.
Limp Bizkit on here, Linkin Park you drafted.
Garth.
What we got? Machine Gun Kelly, Magnolia Park.
Magnolia Park, yeah.
Major League, The Main. The Main is probably like if you're thinking of Mayday Parade and All Time Low, I feel like The Main is like the little brother of those two bands. They didn't quite like blow up like the two of
I've
them.
never been the biggest fan of them.
Yeah, me and Preston were talking about the Main the other day, and we were both like, "Do we like them?" And we were both like, "No." We were like,
my
okay.
9th grade girlfriend, or I guess 10th grade girlfriend, our song was "Into Your Arms" by The Main. So
That's adorable.
I like to shout out a group called Foxy Shazam.
Do you know Foxy Shazam, or do you just like the name?
No, I know Foxy Shazam. Their vocalist their vocalist is incredible. He is named Eric Nally, and he's got like a handlebar mustache and sings like Freddie Mercury caliber kind of vocal lines. Listen to their songs Oh Lord and Bombs Away is a really good introduction to kind of like their vibe. But less than known, definitely was higher up on my board. Foxy Shazam, and a good band name.
Memphis Mayfire here. You have their vocalist Matty Mullins. He just took over for the vocalist for Anne Berlin. They re-recorded their first big album. I was not a fan of it. I love Matty Mullins, but it doesn't sound like a good fit. But good luck to you. Metro Station, I think we threw out a little bit earlier.
Shake.
They're a fun band.
Yeah, I just got demonetized.
Mike Posner, Miss May I, Modson. Shout out Modson. I've got a cool story with him. We went and saw him when he was at the Masquerade, and my girlfriend at the time had made me a picture of him. But she was a big like artist, and she used it as used an art style called pointillism, which is basically you just draw and it's all in dots. And I was able to bring that with me to the show. He ended up signing it, and we ended up going onto his tour bus and smoking with him. But I handed him the picture, and he goes, "Oh, this is sick. Like, what do you call this?" And my girlfriend at the time was like, "Oh, pointillism." And he goes and turns to like his DJ, and he was like, "Hey, Pat, pointillism." So yeah, good,
Unbelievable.
shout out Mod Son. Motion City soundtrack.
Oh, Everything Is All Right. What a song.
Yeah. Motionless in White.
I'm a big Motionless in White guy. Shout out Rhea Ripley, and their album Disguise is good first song to last. And anybody that argues that, and I've seen a lot of people on the internet argue that, can go fuck themselves because Disguise is an incredible album.
Hell yeah.
We got My Chemical Romance, My Children, My Bride. Never Shout Never. Christopher Drew. Big in the girls scene in, like, I guess, was that 8th grade, freshman year of high school?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
big.
You had that his weird fucking hairstyle that everyone tried for a little
The
bit.
big oily swoop.
Yeah.
What else we have here? Norma Jean of Mice and Men, but again, you sort of took them without taking them.
Thank you.
One of y'all mentioned The Offspring earlier.
Yeah,
Another
don't
big
pick the Offspring.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. I think they suck live. I'm sorry.
I've
They
never
sound
seen the
like shit.
Offspring live, but I
Fun?
think that they
Sound like shit. So if you, Danny, like I'm just from you taking the vocal performance, if you saw them live, would shit on what they put together.
I don't listen to the Offspring for vocals whenever I do. It is more of kind of a novelty listen for me, but I do know that there are a lot of people that
Yeah.
do really like them.
Our Last Night. They're a big
I
cover
like
band
them.
now, but
I
they
like them.
fucking smack.
Yep.
POS.
What'd you call me?
They did
What'd you call me? I knew you were gonna say that, Mike. I knew you were gonna say that.
they had one big song that was played in like every weight training class back in high school. Can't think of it though. Parkway Drive, Pennywise. I'm not familiar with Pennywise, but they showed up as, I think, like number 3 on most, like, top 75 most influential bands for Warped Tour.
They are super punky. Like,
Yeah, they are a band that like has influenced. Like I think if you listen to Tom DeLonge, he talks about Pennywise being a huge influence on him. I think along with The Descendants, which was like an 80s pop punk band. But yeah, there's a lot of people that say that Pennywise is like up at the top of their list. I have a question. Have you guys heard of a band called Set Your Goals?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're a really cool band. I think their sound is kind of like not necessarily aged the best, but they're a part of that like Bay Area like pop punk like melodic hardcore scene. I think they came like right before Story did. In fact, I think one of their members, their main members, his brother played with Story like in their early days, so they're kind of like a part of that scene. But really cool bands. I think their first album is called "This Will Be the Death of Us." A really cool band that has kind of gotten forgotten over time a little bit, but they were a part of that like early 2000s Warped Tour scene. And I had kind of forgotten about them until I was doing the research for this. It's kind of cool to go back into them and see them. So
Rediscover some old bands that you listened to.
yeah. Also Turnstile.
Turnstile. Fuck yeah, Turnstile.
Love Turnstile. It's a cool band.
They got a new album coming out this year, coming out in June.
Yeah, and their new song kind of goes in a little bit of a different direction for them. I'm kind of pumped to hear it. So yeah.
I haven't listened to their new song yet because I like to try to like get all of it together. So I usually
I've seen
don't
it at
listen.
the Masquerade, and then I saw them open for Blink at the arena, and opening bands always have a shitty time doing an arena tour because it's not meant for like an opening band, but they fucking killed the set before Blink came on. They sounded so good. I was like, this is crazy because they're a band that's meant to be played in like a small room, and they were keeping an entire like 15,000 seat arena like engaged. I was so impressed with them. So cool.
I love their album Glow On. It is
Yeah.
great stuff. Holiday, good song. What else is on that album that I really fucking like? Oh yeah, Mystery, Blackout. Yeah, great album. If you want like kind of a really punky, punchy, fresh sounding album, there's Glow On by Turnstile for sure.
Yeah.
Got Plain White Tees,
Mm.
Pierce the Veil. We mentioned them a little bit earlier. Paris, Rancid, big punk band that we missed out there.
Tim
Real
Armstrong.
Friends.
Yeah.
Real Friends is a good cover of Duality
Or by Slipknot.
Love.
by Slipknot, and they're like more of a punky kind of sound. Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, Real Big Fish,
Yes.
uh,
Rise Against.
Rise Against, said Riff Raff, the Rocket Summer. That's a bit smaller.
Rocket Summer.
RX,
Well, I've seen them live before. Yeah.
RX Bandits.
I don't know that.
Was MXPX on that list?
They have to have been.
Had to have been a Warped Tour band,
Yeah.
right?
Skip over.
MXPX was cool.
Yep, they're there.
Fucking Weezer played one year.
I like Weezer.
I like some
This-
Weezer.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're Weezer. They're
Yeah.
certainly Weezer.
Yeah.
Service
Seosin?
Yeah.
Sammy Adams. If y'all had a
Mm.
1 year Sammy Adams run,
Yeah. Sammy Adams.
Scary Kids, Scaring Kids.
Yeah.
Secrets, Senses Fails. Set It Off, Set Your Goals.
Yeah.
Seven Dust.
Settle Your Scores. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but they're fucking rad too. Yeah. They're just a cool, like, easy core band. So
Silverstein and Simple Plan here.
Silverstein.
Those were high on my list, both of them. And Silverstein just
Yeah.
released a pretty damn good new album.
I think they were just on tour here in Atlanta recently, actually. Yeah.
Silverstein or Simple Plan?
Silverstein. Yeah.
I think Soul Plan might have just did their last tour. Maybe I'm making that up.
Maybe.
But
Sleeping with Sirens. Kellen Quinn was big back in the day.
Mhm.
Feel like he was popping up on every like new bands as like a feature.
Yep.
State Champs, The Starting Line.
ooh, I want to add
Stained.
Skin Dread. Has anybody ever seen or heard of Skin Dread?
I have
I
not.
fucking love them. Look them up. It's like a Jamaican singer, dude. They have like a rendition to Electric Avenue. Go listen to that shit. Sick as fuck.
Streetlight Manifesto, another ska band. There's Sublime, Sugar Cult, and Sugar Ray.
Sugar what, bro?
Two completely different bands. But yeah. Wow, Sugar Cult. I haven't thought about Sugar Cult in a long time.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Suicide Silence, Sum 41, The Somerset, Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned them a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Texas in July.
Yeah.
30 Seconds to Mars evidently played.
Yeah, they played once. Jared has just been like his acting set as an actor just annoys the fuck out of me. And I wish. Don't get me wrong, Kings and Queens, incredible song. The Kill, incredible song. This Is War, incredible song. Stop acting like you're God's gift.
He's a little culty, isn't he?
He is very culty. He
He's a little
gives that off.
Yeah, he's a little cultish. Yeah. Interesting guy.
This Wild Life, I don't know if y'all have heard them. They're like a acoustic rock duo. They're really good. They make some good music. Transit, Travis McCoy here played
man.
solo.
Shout out Tim Landers.
Yep.
I love Transit. Yeah.
Trophy Eyes, that's
Man.
another Australian pop punk band. Under Oath. I feel like that was a big one. I feel like they were very influential on a lot of bands that we listened to. The Used, same thing.
Mhm.
Versa Emerge, Volumes,
Volumes, big fan.
Wage War. I
Wage
never
War
got to see
fucks.
them. I don't think I saw them at Warped Tour, but they've been in my playlist a lot recently. I think they're
I
a Florida
recommend
band
you
too,
need
right?
to yes, you need
Yeah,
to see them
Ocala.
live. They are fucking awesome.
Waka Flocka, Water Parks. There's Watski. We Are the In Crowd. I forgot about this band. I couldn't even
Yeah.
tell you what they
What
sound like.
what's their song? Manners?
I couldn't tell you. I just
Yeah.
recognized the name. We the Kings. We came as Romans.
Be the
We came as Romans
Kings.
Clapped. There's Weezer, Whitechapel,
Whitechapel.
the White Tie Affair. Woe Is Me. Great
Oh,
music.
wait. Shout out to Woe Is Me. One of my really good friends from growing up, his name is Kevin Hansen. He is a guitarist in that band.
Dude, I love Kevin Hansen. Fucking amazing. They're putting out new music now
I haven't
too.
talked to him in forever, but like I grew up on the same street as him. Like him and I used to be like inseparable, like when we were kids and that kind of stuff. He's a cool dude. Yeah, dude. Woe Is Me, cool band. Yeah.
That if I ended up not going Chunk No Captain Chunk, if Tyler Carter didn't have all of the allegations, I was gonna go Woe Is Me. I
I was
just
gonna
thought that was
say, is Hans still the vocalist there? Hans
yeah,
Holger?
Hanson's still the vocalist. They have Michael Bond still as the unclean vocalist. They brought back I can't remember the drummer's name, but then they immediately kicked him out again. They have a lot of the original members for Woe Is Me that they ended up bringing back, but
That's
they
cool,
just
you know,
released
Kevin though. Yeah.
yeah, Kevin, I remember I added Hans Allegood on Facebook back in the day, and he accepted, and I went back and forth with him a couple times. So
That's
that was cool
awesome.
to me as a kid.
Yeah.
That kind of rounds out our list. Yumi and everyone we know. Yumi at 6. Oh, Yellow Card. Yellow Card.
Yellow
Card.
Card, Ocean Avenue.
Kind of a heavy hitter. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only I had a couple you didn't say. I'd like to shout out Chelsea
Go ahead.
Grin. I really like Chelsea Grin.
Yep.
That might have been the only one that I like really feel was missed. Yeah, that was the one. And Architects, and they have a new album that is awesome.
Architects is a banger.
Yes, I really like their new album, so go check it out.
But yeah, I think that rounds out our list. We obviously missed a lot, but I mean, I feel like we could have gone 10 picks deep and we still would have had a lot to
Easy peasy. Yeah.
But obviously, you know, we wanted to try to keep this as short as possible. And, you know, 5 is just a nice clean number. But Danny, Preston, appreciate you guys hopping on. It's always fun just talking about music.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You know, took a trip down memory lane for sure. Mike, as always.
Absolutely,
Partner
brother.
in crime over here on YouTube.
Thanks for having me.
I definitely want to have you guys back on for something else that we do, something down the line. You know, we've been thinking of ideas. If y'all have any ideas, you know, text them over to me if you want to hop on literally anytime. But I'm going to end up making a graphic and I'm going to post it on I guess, Twitter or something, Instagram, whatever it may be. And, you know, they'll just have our lineup of everything. But if you guys, listeners, if you think we missed anything, comment down below. Tell us how shitty our picks was. You know, glaze us in the comments if you would like. Leave a like and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.